G'day and welcome to this video, and I can't remember which number it is, on the EJ Holden, and it's an EJ Holden, not an EH, so I've made my first mistake. So in this one we had to, well, previously we had all this Starlet stuff and we had to get rid of it all by sticking it in another car. Well, there's another one coming tomorrow, white 5-door, which is the doggy car for Charlie. She wants something to carry a dog around in. So what happened was I made all this space under the house and also in the shed for EJ Holden parts, and so I hadn't pulled the car apart. It's all complete, but I wanted to blow it apart in order to start moving with the restoration on it. So I called up my powder coat guy Sam from Tech Coat in Bayswater, and he's got a blaster that works with him. He's going to blast all the Y fronts, the new Y fronts. They're pants, aren't they? No, Y frames. He's going to blasting Y fronts. That'd be interesting. He's going to blast the Y-frames and paint them in a Patek, so that's done. Yeah, they're absolutely perfect. They're from Graham. I got them in, I think, January, and they've been in the trailer ever since. So I'm going to drop them off to him fairly shortly. So the rest of the stuff, some of the stuff I've moved on. The engine block, the machining's all done, all this sort of other stuff, and I can move on that fairly quickly, but I won't. I could move on it soon. And also the shell. Now the shell's the Achilles heel. It's a good shell, but it's been sort of out in the outback and it's surface rusted everywhere, and the XA is going to be the same. And I don't really know what to do. What I'd like to do, I rang up a guy that dips them, acid dips, and $3,800 to acid dip just the shell on the EJ, and that's not the hang-ons, that's not the Y-fronts. It's not the Y-frames, it's not the front panel, nothing. It's just that shell and boot, if you know what I mean. Which I think is quite high. I'm kind of looking at a cheaper alternative if I can. But it's not the sort of job that I'm going to labour away with, or I'm able to labour away with, getting rid of every bit of surface rust and deoxidating the whole thing and getting underneath it and painting it and all this stuff. I don't want to do that. I just want to give it to someone to get all that cleaning stuff done. So if anyone can help and knows somebody that's willing to do it for not quite $3,800, that'd be a great thing. Because that's the only thing that'll be holding me up for now, because after I get it back from there, I can start cutting it up and replacing rusty bits. And there are a few of those. So, have I missed anything? I don't think so. Hope you enjoy. My mind is sort of preoccupied with this EJ Holden, and it's very ready, but it's complete. Thank you very much, Graham. So I'm going to pull this apart, and I've got to find storage for the seat. But I need to get this car in bits sooner than later, because I've got the Ford going to another location, and Starlet's here tomorrow, and I've got to finish the Plymouth off. A lot of stuff to do, but I'm enjoying it. Keep all the stainless nice and safe. There's lots of great stainless on this car. Heaps of it, which is one of the things I prefer about EJs over EHs. Things like these, there's a glove box door. Well, there's two of them, I picked the best. These sorts of things I'll always have hydroblasted. I'm not going to bother trying to wire brush rust and all this sort of business. I couldn't be bothered with that. Same with the floor section. I'll probably have that blasted like sandblasted, and just cut out what I need from it, because the body shell itself has to be blasted as well. There's a battery tray. So, you know, all that stays there. There's a fuel tank there, I'll put that away. I don't want that sitting in here getting wet. And of course wiring looms I want out. Tail lights, which shouldn't be too difficult to get out. They're fairly easy from what I can see. Whoa. And just storage of some of these smaller bits. There's a new floor pan that goes straight into the shed. The old headlining. Hubcaps, you know, a box of this stuff. No idea what that is, but I'll figure it out. It can't be too hard. It's an EJ Holden, mate. Headlining. Oh, look at this. There's all sorts of stuff in there from Graham. Which some of this he might want back, I'm not really sure. But we'll just start putting stuff away, I think. So he did an incredibly good job. He sort of assembled this out of parts he had, and they're all restorable. So I think I'm just going to put all this stuff away for now and just pull them out. I might do little bits and pieces here and there. Just sort of, you know, you stick them on the shelf and they always make you feel a bit better about what you're doing. But you know, that wiring's good to still just plug and everything on it. That's awesome. Graham Newbury is a pretty generous man. He sold me this EJ Holden for almost nothing. The same price I sold my EJ wagon to, no, EH wagon, sorry, to Michael Crump. Michael was the guy who did the welding on the XW for me before I had a welder. Now what we're doing with this, we're sort of cataloguing bits and putting them away at the moment. I'm not cataloguing, I'm just taking stuff off. And it's really amazing what came with the car. In fact, you know, I've got a couple of these wiper switches. That doesn't look bad. But the other stuff he put on, it's all complete. Like, you know, he's got the cable strains. That's in lovely condition, a few pits, but, you know, I reckon that'll clean up quite well. Graham's been chroming a lot of his parts. I haven't got a decent chrome around here that's reasonable. But I'll tell you now, I'll be plating everything. So throttle linkages, all this sort of stuff is going to get plated. But all the trims, beautiful. Really, really beautiful stuff. And he made sure, even though he got the car in fairly ready condition, he made sure that all the parts came with it. So I can restore the car as it is. The wireframes are knackered in the front. They're very rusty, but I've got another one in the trailer. There's a battery tray for it. I've got a spare cylinder head, and that cylinder head's going to Craig. He's the one with the other grey motor that we were thinking of using that we didn't end up using. There's a crank that hasn't been ground before, so I've got to get it crack tested. I might use that crank in the engine we're rebuilding. Of course, all the machine work on the block and the boring and everything's already been done. The transmission tunnel's knackered because somebody's got to it, not just with a cutting disc but with a grinding disc. It would have been a sparking extravaganza in here, and of course you had your probably Speco 3-speed floor shifter, but I've taken all these trims off the dash. There is rust in the plenum there. I've got to take that choke cable off. Graham's already redone the pedal box, so I'll take that out and I'll put it away. Oh gee. So it's just a matter of picking parts off it. Of course, the glove box door he took off. This car's been getting wet inside because it's outside, but look, that's Epotech, and that's just a stain. Ashtray, everything's there. I might have to get that done. I don't think I can clean that up, but it's quite amazing. Like, he's obviously had a go at those too, I think. It's quite amazing what's here. All the stainless, including an XC jack, which that will be replated and that will be repainted, and it'll find a place in the boot of the XC Falcon, which is that car. I do have to get the guards back. The guards for this car will be coming on the XA when the XA gets here, and I've got some work to do because I've got to get this thing stripped and on a dolly and put into the shed out that way. But every trim, I think I've got one really good spear for the front. I am missing one. But you know what? Even the special badges have got a brand new. But all these trims, and they're beautiful. EH is actually, I prefer the look of these in some ways because they've got this beautiful back window, beautiful sloping lines. They're much less square, obviously, than the EH, and I think they're actually a more attractive car, even though the grey is touted to be nowhere near as good as a red motor. I don't think that matters because it's not going to be a daily. The colour that it's going to be painted is Cottesloe cream. It's a pale yellow. There's not many of them around. Old family car we had was Cottesloe cream in an EJ. Mum and Dad didn't like the car. They got rid of it because they had trouble with it. So I think gearbox trouble or something. I can't remember what they said. I can ask Mum, she'd still remember. But again, Nick Sagliano, you're a legend. These things, this is such a useful bit of kit. He says as he breaks it. I'm holding a camera which is kind of unwise with what I'm doing. Oops, there we go. And that'll all separate from there. I shouldn't be doing this with one hand, guys. Do not use me as an example of how to do something. They've got these little wire clips behind them. And we'll just take that off. I have never had one of these tools, and I cannot believe I've worked on cars for so long without having one. They are a phenomenal tool, those things. They're brilliant. Anyway, we'll put those away. All this stuff has to be bagged and boxed and all that sort of stuff, although I don't need to bag those, I know what they are. But I did buy another set of boxes from Officeworks. So what have we got in there? A choke cable's about it. The remains of a headlining, which can be taken out. Of course, the drip rail moulding, which I'm very nervous about ruining, so I'll be very careful with that, although it looks like it might be loose. There might be something I can take off too. Gets tight there. All by the frigging company that made that. They're brilliant. I just stuck it under and just gave it a little thing with my hand and the whole drip rail came off. They are not bad, are they? Look at that. I don't think Graham had these off. I think he got them like that. I'm not sure. I don't think he put them on. Yeah, the front bit. I'm just going to pull a few bits off in no real order. He's put these bolts in the guards, and I'm assuming they look like a 1/4 inch fine. I'm assuming they're the originals. They're sort of recessed in the top. I'm not one for buying bolt kits. I much prefer original stuff. Because I replayed it. When they're rusty, sort of like this, you do find they do look a bit pitted, so they might not look terribly good. There's a bolt down the bottom and I can't see where it's anchored. And so we'll just pull it apart and see where that leads us. That's a red motor cross member down there. This car's getting its grey motor back. So the cross member might be of use to somebody. It's probably the same as an EJ Holden one. I'll just leave a couple of bolts in, just see where it's anchored at the bottom because I can't see it. Even to the point where he's used the correct flat washers and spring washers. Not bad. Is this going to come on? Nope, there's something else holding it there. Even remember there's one on the inside of the car too. Alright. Idiot. There we go. He said these guards are knackered. I don't think it looks that bad really. Down the bottom could do with a panel, a patch panel, but he said they're just bogged up rubbish. He bought all new ones for his. Alright. Now, that drip rail moulding, I just want to take that off. That's the only reason I went to all this trouble, just to get the drip rail moulding off. Whoa. Oh, now I can flick that out. Oh, look at that. Somehow. Hang on a minute. Perfect. Every episode, whatever I bring out, I'm thanking Nick for that. Sorry, I'm banging on about it again. That's lovely. I didn't do any damage on that. That looks absolutely smooth, so that's good. So that's a relief. Let's have a look around this thing. We'll start by giving it some stab wounds. Holden red oxide in here. Still, it feels quite solid. What I've got to do is I've got to take that whole top off because I want to fix the plenum from within. But I think Graham put that there. Don't know. They're just the fasteners Graham put in. They're the right 5/16 fine ones. I've got around another 5 billion of those somewhere. But where's my ratchet? I just went to get the camera and forgot the ratchet. So it's just a matter of just done doing them, take them all off. Okay, there's a bit of weight in this. Perfect. well, it's looking a bit sad and sorry for itself. I'll take that crank out. I'm going to clean that up and give it to the Speedworks, and they can crack test it. I think that's never been ground. I think I mentioned that, didn't I? So I've got to find, I've got storage for the doors, and I'll take the seats out. Pedal box, I've got to move the car forward actually, or over at least to get the other side. But it's looking pretty good. Rear door ones are longer. There's also a different way of taking them off, but I'm taking the hinge off with the door. The door doesn't weigh much because it's probably rusted out. Sweet. What does this look like underneath? Oh, he's had it. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, you can certainly hear it. Tetanus paradise. We can fix it. People have been calling me a stickler for years, and I don't mind that, that's all good, because sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not, but Graham threw this car together at a party he had. Even one of the bolts, he's got a float washer and a lock washer on a car that's going in the back of a truck and being thrown out the interstate. So let's take the rest of this apart, eh? Sweet. This is a guard he didn't want to use. I've no idea why. I don't reckon it's all that bad actually. He's clearly fussier than I am. Moderately heavy, this thing. So I'm not sure about the timeline on this. It's going to be a while, eh? Because I'm in no hurry for it. I kind of bought it because it was there, and I kind of really dig these cars. Get here this. Oh, cool. So yeah, no hurry. I do want to get it off the drive though. I hate trashy looking cars where people can see them from the road. I really don't like that. So I'll the idea is to get it into Epotech. Oh, that's a bit stiffer. And I've just got to make some inquiries. So by the time this comes out, I should know. Oh, that's a little bit stiff. Exactly the direction we're taking, but I need to get it off the drive. This door's a ripper. It's just dirty. There's nothing wrong with it. Take all that seal off and everything, and you can see where they bolt on the hinges, the low one. I'm just taking it off there because I just want everything off the shelf. That's a good door. That's a cracker. It actually has $200 there. I don't know if that's what Graham paid for it. The seal's not too bad, although they have gone through somewhere. I just stuck my fingernail through it there. So once it's blasted, there'll probably be a bit of a mess. So it might be the case that I change the outer seal as well. I'm not sure. Door off, and I can see they're through there. So it's pretty messed up. But this other back door, well, I think that's a bit of a peach as well. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it's dirty and maybe a bit of attention here and there, but no deal breaker for me. Whoops. This whole thing's going to fall apart. Sweet. We're off. Off to see the wizard. sorts of noise inside. We've got all the parts stored. There's a Starley tailgate up there and a door. The rest of this is all EJ Holden, sorry, including doors. They're all sitting on plastic with treated pine things to give them airspace underneath, so we shouldn't get too much in the way of corrosion. Although it will take me a little while to get round to all this. I've just taken the seal off the back glass. Well, it fell off. I'll leave the front one there. It'll probably come off quite easily, but I'm not going to bother. I'll just leave it there for now. Well, there's good news and bad news. And really, the good news is to do with things like, you know, all your window edges and everything are fine. They can be fiddly things to do. The bad news, well, your floors are knackered, some of them, which isn't a big deal for me. It's mainly the structure that I'm worried about. That needs to be spot on. So, hang on a minute. These things are so good. Everyone needs one of these. That's a good rubber. I can keep that. Let's have a bit of a scoot around the car and have a look. You can see the Y-frames are knackered there. Underneath they're particularly stuffed. Not so much on this side. On the other side, it's all gone. I'll see if I can get a shot for you. Oh, actually, I just saw it then. If you look, oh, there. They're stuffed. And apparently hellish to get off with the bolts under. But I'll just cut them off. I'm not worried about that. That front end can go. All around the window's great. You know, comparatively. I'm not sure what to do with this because there is rust in the plenum chamber. If you look there, might be able to get it from inside the car. I was originally planning on taking this whole top off and getting access into it. This all looks fairly good though, but I can't see down in there, so I'll have to get my little endoscope down there and have a look. But the thing with this car is it's just so dirty, you know, with surface rust and that sort of stuff. This popped out. Nice big hole there. Again, not that worried about that. The dog legs are knackered as well. And they're all full of debris. You know, they're all... Where is it? It's all just mud and crap in there, I think. Floors, as we said, that's gone. The back floor's gone. In there, that's all stuffed. So, I don't know whether to... start doing some of the repairs now, then get it dipped. I don't know. Because what I want to do once it's dipped is take it down and have it all covered in Epitech, which is that greeny 2-pack edge primer, which is completely brilliant. I'll take the wiring loom out. That one's a little bit shabby down there, but that doesn't matter. It's a great template for a new one. Graham's pedal box that he overhauled. I haven't taken that out yet because, well, he had a bolt there, but I can't see where else it's bolted in, but it won't come out. Won't be too hard to get out though. I'm pretty confident I can do that. Oh, got to take the drip rail off now. But it's all looking fairly good. You know, all things considered, the car looks terrible, but it isn't. Floors are easy, yeah. The tunnel's tricky because there's a support under there. I've got another tunnel for it, and I've got another, what do you call it, dog leg for over that side. And it's funny because the sort of suspension members or the subframe comes up through the floor, if you know what I mean. It's weird how they've done it. Or on the back window looks fairly good. That's going to be all messed up, I would think. All in here, it's all bogged up and pretty mangy. But that all looks pretty good, you know. And that can be fiddly stuff to do. I'll take the other drip rail off. But you know, we've got this sort of stuff. And that's just rooted. So, and there's a couple of different layers to it there. So I've got to really familiarise myself with how these are all together. You know, all these gone. It looks like a huge job, and it kind of is, but it's all very doable. It's a very honest car. We can see what's good and bad about it, which is a good thing. I don't think anyone's really messed around with it. It's just been dumped. Anyway, that's about it for now. I'm running out of daylight. Right, please mind the wind. If it gets too windy, I'll rate it and turn the sound down on the video. Well, I've got this thing stripped out as much as I'm going to do for now. I haven't taken the wheel covers off. hubcaps or the bonnet cable. But the rest of it I have. And it looks like a car that's been in the outback or left to sit there and do what it needs to do. Now the problem with I'm having with it isn't what I'm seeing, because none of it really scares me that much. What scares me is the prospect of having to remove all the surface rust and remove it properly. So blasting I don't think is the way to go, because some of it's very thin. Let's look at the good and the bad. I don't know how much of that's left. That's probably right. The boot floor is not terrible. We've got these sorts of issues here. The rust will do that. It sort of thins in one area and adjacent's fine. Down there doesn't look too bad, but again we're full of seam sealer. Can we see down there? Hardly. Get in there. Not that bad. Same story down there. I dug away at some seam sealer and it wasn't bad, it was good. The boot lips are really, really good. It's all good. I am a little bit worried though. It's been punched in the back. I'm getting all this shape right. I'm concerned with that. Now the rear screen recess is very good. The car itself is very good. But it does have some issues. I'm still going to drill out these things for the trims across the back as well. This dog leg shot, we knew that, and there's bits and pieces along the sort of edge of the sill like that, if you know what I mean, which I don't think is very hard to fix. But the base of the B pillar's gone, and I do have another B pillar. This is mounted. This floor is rusty. As I said, I think before, the chassis actually comes up through the floor. But these rivets seem to be where the spring hangers are mounted. That's gone under there, we knew about that, and if I jumped on top of that with my boot, it'd go straight through. The other side's not crash hot. We've got a couple of holes. That floor's gone. And we know about the tunnel and the front floor. That's a patch job at this stage. The tunnel will cut out and replace properly. And we've got little bits and pieces, a couple of little holes. That's a nothing. Behind the XW's rear screen look like that. But the rest of it's really, really good. And the plenum doesn't look bad from here, but I can't get under there. I would be inclined to unbutton all this and get in there and paint it with Epotec, because there's no rust prevention for it or rust protection. The bit that's frightening about this car is the fact that sandblasting is not going to clean it. Not to the degree I need it cleaned. It's going to be an acid bath or a submersive alkaline bath, whatever they use. I think it's acid and then they neutralise it. And that is $3,800 to get done, which is money I haven't got. I can save up, and if it was a higher dollar car, I wouldn't bat an eyelid, I'd just spend it. But these things aren't a particularly high dollar car as far as I know. Your EHs and a lot of other cars will take precedence over one of these things. But then we have to ask ourselves if we're going to keep it. And the answer to that's yeah. I mean, I keep everything. So in order to get it done, we've got to wait till June. And in June, it would go in, get submerged. It's about a 3-week process. In the meantime, we'll take the rear axle out and suspension. Graham's got it all tied up with handbrake cables and everything. We take the Y-frames off and mount the car on a dolly, make up a dolly for it so we can just wheel the shell around. Once the shell comes back, well, actually from there I'd want to get it epotected completely, absolutely covered in the stuff, and then we're going to see the extent of the damage. Now it's going to be up for a lot of rust repair sections, untip and sills, you know, a couple of floors. I've got one, I can patch the other one. I've got a cut for the what do you call it, transmission tunnel. I've got this cut, which is the dog leg area here. I can use some parts off that. The chassis rail doesn't look really any better. I'd be inclined to leave that. But it seems that the chassis rail, the floor sort of sits sandwiched between the chassis rail and the spring hanger. So that would probably have to all be undone, I would think. But we don't know the extent of how far that floor's gone. If I don't need to replace the whole thing, I won't. But I need to sort of consider what the options are. Get ready, save up some money. If it's in June that the dipper will take it, well, that gives me a couple of months to come up with some money. But we've also got the XA coming, and I'm tipping that might need to be dipped as well. Because of just all this. We can sit here with Dioxidine and Scotch Brite and scrub our backsides off, but I just don't want to do it, you know. So if anyone knows of a way, this thing's very straight in the back too, I don't think it's been hit. Just parking bins mainly. So if anyone knows of a way that might be cost effective to do, to clean it up, I'd be most keen to hear from you. Right, so in conclusion, is this doable? And of course, yeah, it's doable. Is it difficult? Yeah. Parts of this are going to be very difficult. Some of it won't be. Floors are straightforward. I think this sort of stuff's straightforward. B-pillars, you want to get those right. If you get them wrong, well, door gaps. And they probably won't even close. You know, the mounts on the front for the Y-frames, that's something I need to research, because I don't want to get that wrong, obviously. But in all, you know, you ask yourself these questions. Do we want to keep the car? Of course. You know, have we got the skills to do it? I think so. Is it cost effective? Probably not. So, well, that will determine the finished state to what we get. Do you know what I mean? Like a trim kit's $4,000. If it's $4,000 just to clean the shell, another couple of grand for all your rust repair sections, then another grand to get it all epiteched. You know, it adds up. The bodywork and all that sort of stuff I can do. It's not a big car. Doors, rust repair sections, maybe a couple of skins. Front guards, I don't know what Graham was so worried about. I reckon I can straighten, well, one of them. It doesn't look that bad. He is shooting for ultimate brand new car with his. I'm not. Again, clean daily driver. That's normally the area I shoot for. So anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed this. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Another neglected bucket that I've got here. U13 Bluebird. I've got to get this on the road. And I want it on the road soon. It hasn't got any fuel in it either. This is the one I put the head-up display, rewired it all, and I don't know how good this battery is. Not the battery's cracked. Damn. Okay, hang on. It is. The battery guides are being mean to me at the moment because I've neglected the batteries. Normally I'm pretty good like that. I kind of am vigilant and keep them charged up and, you know, all this other stuff. Lately the CBF light's been really coming on and I haven't been able to find the energy to do much. Oh, I'm going to go and chuck this on charge and I'll stick another one in just a minute. This is a freak, this car. It was like $800. It's got electric everything because it's a TI, and TIs are actually fairly unusual. The LX is the common one, that's the base model, and even they had power windows and everything in them. Followed by your triple S's. They had head-up display and more supportive seats, that sort of stuff, different trim. But I took the head-up out of one of the Wreckers and stuck it in this. Is that going to tighten up? Damn. I can't see that working, but we'll try anyway. It's a little bit loose. Feels like it's got an engine mount out though. Like it's got a kind of a vibration in it. What do you reckon? She haven't. Move. Move, cat. Move. Move. Come on.